Have you ever wondered why you are hearing this right now in this very moment? Out of millions of things you could be doing, out of all the noise of the world, you are here listening to these words. That is not an accident. That is not random. Something inside you has been searching for a message, and today you found it. Think about it. How many times in life do we scroll, we skip, we pass by things without noticing? Yet somehow your mind stopped here. Something made you pause. That is the first signal. Life rarely speaks with a loud voice. It whispers. It sends small moments, little signs that only those who are awake can recognize. And right now you are awake enough to hear it. Most people never stop. They are buried in routine, drowning in distractions, lost in the rush of endless days. But you, right now, you are different. You broke away from that noise, even for a second. You found this, and that should make you realize something powerful. Life is trying to tell you that you are ready for change. Pause and feel that. Doesn't it strike you as strange, almost mysterious, that these words are reaching you exactly before the 23rd of September? Not later, not earlier. Now timing has meaning. This moment is a turning point. For many, it will pass unnoticed. For you, it can be the beginning of a new chapter. But here's the truth. Not everyone will act. Most people will dismiss this as just another video, just another moment. But those who understand, those who feel that spark inside, will take it as a sign. And when they do, their life begins to shift. If you can hold on, if you can keep listening until the end, you will understand why this moment is rare. There is a reward waiting. Not in the form of money or gifts, but in clarity, in awakening, in finally seeing the path that was hidden before your eyes. Let me ask you something. How many times have you felt like life was repeating itself? Days blending into weeks, weeks into months, all looking the same. That's what happens when you ignore the signs. That's what happens when you let your power sleep. But the fact that you're still here, listening, means you're ready to break that cycle. You are searching for more. And this moment is your proof that more exists. Human psychology tells us something very clear. The mind will always resist change. It will tell you to stop, to doubt, to scroll away. But if you fight that urge and stay, you win the first battle. Because the hardest part of transformation is not taking massive leaps. It's choosing to stay when everything inside wants to run back to comfort. Right now, by staying, you're already defeating the old patterns that held you back. So here is the reward I promise you, if you continue until the end. A shift in the way you see your life. A spark of vision that you cannot ignore. Words that will not leave you after you close this video, but instead echo in your mind when you wake up tomorrow. That is the true prize, because once your perspective changes, your reality follows. Look around your life. Deep down, you know there's more you can be, more you can do, more you can have. You feel it in quiet moments when nobody's watching, when your soul whispers that you're meant for greater things. This message you stumbled upon, it is that whisper made louder. And if you can let it sink into your heart, everything begins to change. Ask yourself, why now? Why not yesterday? Why not a month later? There's something about timing that cannot be ignored. The right words at the right moment can be the spark that sets your entire future on fire. You are standing at that edge right now. You are standing at that edge right now. You can choose to brush this off, or you can choose to lean in and discover why you were meant to hear this today. Stay with me. Don't let your old self pull you away. If you can hold on, if you can keep listening, then what you discover will not just motivate you for today. It will push you to rise for a lifetime. The fact that you're here means you are ready. And if you're ready, then nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop the change that begins now. The power of timing life has a mysterious way of speaking to us, and it often does so through timing. Think about how many times you have felt something appear in your life at the exact moment you needed it. Maybe a word of advice, maybe a person, maybe even a challenge that forced you to grow. That is not coincidence. It is life's way of aligning you with a path that was waiting for you. And today, this very moment is one of those alignments. The power of timing is that it reveals truth when you are finally ready to hear it. If these words had come to you last year, you may have ignored them. If they came years later, it might have been too late. But today they meet you at a point where your soul is searching, where your heart is restless, where your mind knows you cannot keep living the same way. Timing unlocks transformation. Understand this clearly. The universe does not waste messages. It does not deliver signs to those unwilling to receive them. If you are here, it means you are prepared to step into a higher version of yourself. It means the struggles you've carried, the doubts you've battled, the pain you've endured, they have all shaped you for this moment. Now is the time when change can truly begin, because now you are strong enough to act. Do not underestimate the value of a now. Most people live trapped between the past and the future, regretting what has already gone or worrying about what is yet to come. But life only transforms when you embrace the present moment. Right here, right now, this is where decisions are made. This is where destinies are shaped. So take this timing as your signal. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because when timing and awareness collide, everything changes. You are being asked to see the truth. This moment was not random, and if you choose to honor it, it will mark the beginning of your new life. The hidden calling, if timing has brought you here, then it carries a message that not everyone is meant to receive. There is a hidden calling within you, something deeper than the surface level goals, something greater than simple desires. It is the voice inside that whispers you are meant for more, even when the world around you tries to convince you to settle. This calling is the reason you feel restless when life becomes ordinary. It is the reason you cannot ignore moments like this. Not everyone hears it. Most people silence that voice with comfort, with excuses, with fear. They tell themselves, even when their heart screams for growth, so too, but you are different. If you are still here, it means that inner voice is alive within you. It means you are listening to what so many others choose to ignore. That is not weakness, that is strength. This calling will not go away. You may try to hide it, to bury it under responsibilities and routines, but it always returns. In quiet moments, when the world goes silent, you hear it again, that feeling that you are meant to rise, to create, to step into a life much larger than the one you are living now. That is the truth you cannot escape, and that is why this moment feels so rare. Understand this, being chosen does not mean being lucky. It means being prepared. Life places a calling only on the shoulders of those strong enough to carry. And though you may doubt yourself, though you may question whether you are ready, the fact that this message found you is the proof you need. You have been prepared by every challenge, every failure, every tear you've shed. This hidden calling is not random, it is the map of your destiny. And when you stop running from it, when you begin to follow it, life unfolds in ways you never imagined. This is the invitation before you now. To stop ignoring, to start listening, and to finally honor the truth inside you that has been waiting for this exact moment. The wake-up point, there comes a moment in every life when the choice is no longer between comfort and growth, but between being asleep and being awake. Most people move through their days like shadows, repeating routines, following habits, trapped in cycles they never question. They wake up, they work, they eat, they sleep, and they call it life. But deep down, they know it isn't living. It is only existing. The hidden calling inside you is the alarm clock. It is the sound that shakes you from the dream of comfort and forces you to face reality. And if you are listening right now, it means you are standing at the wake-up point. This is the crossroad where you stop asking, why me? And start declaring, why not me? It is the moment when you finally admit to yourself that you cannot keep drifting, you must rise. Waking up is not easy. It means facing truths you have avoided. It means admitting that excuses have stolen years, that fear has tied you down, that doubt has silenced your potential. But the beauty of this moment is that you no longer have to live like that. But like you can open your eyes, see clearly, and decide to move forward with power. Every breakthrough begins with awareness. Before the action, before the change, there must be recognition. That is where you are right now. You are no longer blind to the fact that more is possible. You are awake enough to feel the urgency, to sense the fire, to understand that life is not a rehearsal. It is happening right now. This wake-up point is not a punishment. It is a gift. Few people ever reach it, but you have. And now you must decide whether to stay awake or fall back into sleep. Because once your eyes are open, you can never unsee the truth. You are meant for more. And this moment is your chance to step into it. Breaking the illusion. When you begin to wake up, the first thing you notice is how much of life is built on illusions. Illusions of security, illusions of limitation, illusions that tell you who you are and what you can or cannot do. These illusions are not real, but they are powerful because they live in the mind. They shape the way people think, the way they act, and the way they settle for less than what they deserve. Look around and you will see it everywhere. People convincing themselves that their dreams are impossible. People believing that their current situation is permanent. People letting fear dictate every decision they make. These are not truths. They are illusions created by doubt, by society, and by the mind's resistance to growth. And the saddest part is that most never question them. They accept the illusion as reality and live their entire lives inside a cage that was never locked. But now, you have a choice. Once you wake up, you can see the cage for what it is, an illusion. You begin to realize that the limits you thought were unbreakable were only stories. Stories told by fear. Stories repeated so many times that you believed them. But here's the truth. You are stronger than those stories. You are greater than the illusions that have controlled you. Breaking the illusion begins with one simple act, refusing to accept it as truth. Refusing to let fear tell you who you are. Refusing to let the world decide your value. Refusing to let your past write the script for your future. The moment you break the illusion, you claim your freedom. This is the turning point that separates those who live as prisoners of their mind and those who rise as masters of their destiny. And since you are here, since you are listening, you have already taken the first step. The illusions are cracking, the lies are losing power, and the truth is standing before you. You were never small, you were never weak, you only needed to see clearly. Now you can. The weight of choice, once the illusions begin to fade, you are left with something far more powerful and far more terrifying. Choice. Every human being carries this weight, but very few acknowledge. Because choice means responsibility. Choice means admitting that where you are today is not just the result of chance, but of decisions you made and decisions you avoided. This moment is heavy because it forces you to see that two paths stretch out before you. The first is the path of comfort. It is easy, familiar, and safe, but it is more. It keeps you trapped inside the same routines, the same doubts, the same limits that have always held you back. The second path is the path of growth. It is uncertain, uncomfortable, and demanding, but it leads to transformation. It leads to becoming the person you know you were born to be. The weight of choice is that no one else can carry it for you. No one else can decide your future, not your family, not your friends, not society, only you. And the longer you delay, the heavier that weight becomes. Because deep down, you know when you are betraying your potential. You feel it every time you settle, every time you let fear stop you, every time you choose the easy way out. But here is the power hidden in that weight. Choice is also freedom. At any moment, you can decide to change. At any moment, you can decide to rise. It doesn't matter how many times you failed, how many years you've wasted, how many regrets you carry. The choice before you now is untouched by the past. It is pure, it is fresh, it is yours. This is where destiny is decided, not by luck, not by chance, but by the choices you make when you stand awake, aware, and free from illusion. And right now, you are standing in that exact place. The question is simple, but it will shape everything. Will you choose to stay the same, or will you choose to rise? The inner fire, when the weight of choice presses on you, it's easy to believe you don't have the strength to carry it. But what most people forget is that inside every human being, there is a fire that never goes out. It may burn quietly, it may be buried under fear and doubt, but it is there, waiting to be awakened. That fire is your inner power. It is the part of you that refuses to quit. The part that whispers, keep going, even when the world tells you to stop. Think back to moments when you were at your lowest. Times when you thought you couldn't take another step, yet somehow you did. Times when the world weighed heavy on your shoulders, yet you still stood up. That wasn't luck, that wasn't chance, that was your inner fire refusing to die out. And if it carried you through the darkest days, imagine what it can do when you choose to fuel it with belief, with action, with courage. Psychology tells us that human beings have far more resilience than they ever realize. The body can endure more, the mind can adapt more, and the spirit can rise higher than we ever expect. But most people never discover this because they never test themselves. They never test themselves. They never step beyond comfort, so their fire stays small. But the moment you decide to rise, the moment you choose growth, that fire roars to life. It gives you strength you didn't know you had, focus you didn't think possible, and energy that seems endless. The truth is simple. The fire is already inside you. You don't need to search for it outside. You don't need permission to use it. All you need is the decision to trust it, to lean into it, to let it guide you through resistance. Once you do, nothing can stand in your way. Obstacles may appear, challenges will come, but your fire will always burn stronger than anything that tries to extinguish it. This is your power. This is your light. And now is the moment to stop doubting it and start using it. Facing resistance, the moment you awaken your inner fire, resistance will appear. It always does. Fear will whisper that you are not ready. Doubt will tell you that you are not strong enough. Excuses will pile up, convincing you to wait for tomorrow, for a better time, for the perfect moment that never comes. This resistance is not a sign of weakness. It is proof that you are moving in the right direction. Think about it. No one feels resistance when they stay in comfort. No one battles fear when they play small. Resistance only shows up when you begin to break free, when you step onto the path of growth. That is why it feels so heavy, because you are pushing against the walls that once held you captive. Many people mistake resistance for a warning to stop, but in truth, it is an invitation to keep going. The struggle you feel is not the end, it is the beginning. It is the sign that you are rewriting your story. It is the signal that you are leaving behind the old self and stepping into the person you are always meant to become. Yes, resistance hurts. Yes, it feels uncomfortable. But discomfort is the birthplace of strength. Every time you face fear and move anyway, you grow. Every time you feel doubt but act with courage, you expand. Every time you break through resistance, you take ownership of a new version of yourself. Remember this, resistance is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It sharpens you. It tests you, it prepares you for the life you are building. Without it, there is no transformation. Without it, there is no greatness. So when you feel the weight of resistance pressing against you, don't back down. Smile at it, because it means you are alive, you are moving, you are rising. And every step through resistance brings you closer to the life you were meant to claim. The gift of struggle, when resistance rises, it brings with it another truth that many people try to avoid. The struggle. Most see struggle as punishment, as if life is trying to break them down. But the reality is far different. Struggle is not punishment. Struggle is preparation. It is life's way of shaping you, of molding you into someone capable of carrying greater strength, greater wisdom, and greater purpose. Think of every moment in your past where you grew the most. Was it during easy times? Was it when everything was perfect? No. Growth comes in the storm. Strength is born in the fight. Confidence is built when you endure, when you stumble, when you get back up again and again. The struggle you face is not here to destroy you. It is here to build the version of you that your destiny requires. Too many people run from struggle, hiding from the very thing that could set them free. They avoid discomfort, they resist challenges, and in doing so, they also avoid growth. But you are not like that. You are here because you are ready to see the truth. The truth that struggle is the bridge between who you are and who you can become. Without it, you remain the same. With it, you transform. Struggle sharpens your vision. It teaches you discipline. It forces you to discover the strength that was hidden within you all along. Every challenge you face is a test, not to break you, but to prove to you that you can rise higher than you ever thought possible. So instead of asking, "Oh, why is this happening to me?" Begin to ask, "What is this preparing me for?" Because when you see struggle as a gift, it loses its power to crush you. Instead, it lifts you, it carries you forward. It turns you into the person who is not only ready for the future, but unstoppable in creating it. The rare opportunity struggle opens the eyes, but what you see once you rise through it is something most people will never witness, a rare opportunity. Life does not hand these moments to everyone. They come only to those who are awake, those who are willing to endure, those who refuse to stay small. Austere. That is why this very moment is so powerful. It is not ordinary. It is not common. It is a chance that only a few will recognize and even fewer will act upon. Most people miss it. They keep waiting for the right time, blind to the fact that the right time is always now. They wait for confidence before they act, not realizing that confidence is born from action. They wait for the path to be clear, not realizing the path clears only when they take the first step. And while they wait, life passes by and opportunities slip through their fingers like sand. But you are not here by accident. You are standing in a place many will never reach, the place where clarity meets courage. This is not just another day, not just another message. It is the signal that life is opening a door for you. The question is whether you will walk through it or let it close where you hesitate. Opportunities like this do not shout. They whisper. They come disguised as moments of choice, as small decisions that seem simple but carry the weight of destiny. And only those who are awake enough to feel their importance will act. That is why this is rare. Because while the crowd ignores it, you see it for what it is, a turning point. If you choose to seize it, everything changes. Your story shifts, your path unfolds, your life expands beyond what you thought possible. This is not luck, this is alignment. And if you honor it, this rare opportunity will become the moment you look back on and say, that was the day everything began to change. Reclaiming power, a rare opportunity, only has meaning if you claim it. And to claim it, you must first reclaim the power you have given away. For too long, you may have allowed fear, doubt, or the opinions of others to control your steps. You may have believed that life was happening to you, that you were powerless to change your direction. But that was never the truth. The truth is, the power has always been yours. It only waited for you to remember it. Think of how many times you silenced yourself to please others. How many times you ignored your dreams because someone told you they were impossible. How many times you doubted your worth, even though deep inside, you knew you were capable of more. Every one of those moments was a surrender of power. And yet, even now that power has not disappeared. It is still within you, waiting to be reclaimed. Reclaiming power does not mean controlling everything around you. It means controlling yourself. It means realizing that your thoughts shape your actions shape your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. It means no longer waiting for permission, but granting it yourself. It means no longer asking, can I? But declaring, I will. The shift happens the moment you decide to stop living as a victim of circumstance and start living as the author of your story. You may not control every event, but you always control your response. That response is your strength, your weapon, your proof that nothing outside you is greater than what is inside you. This is what reclaiming power feels like. It feels like freedom. Freedom to dream without apology. Freedom to act without fear. Freedom to rise without asking for validation. And once you take back that power, no one can take it from you again, because you will know deep within your soul that everything you need to build the life you desire has always been in your head. Rising above limits when you reclaim your power, the next battle is with the limits you once believed were real. These limits live in the mind, built from fear, past failures, and the voices of those who never believed in you. They tell you where you can go, how far you can reach, and what you can or cannot become, but none of them are truth. They are walls you were conditioned to see, walls that crumble the moment you decide to push against them. Every person has limits, but not every person chooses to rise above them. Some accept them as unchangeable, and they live their lives small, safe, and unfulfilled. Others, the few who choose differently, face those limits head-on. They see the fear, they feel the doubt, but they move forward anyway. And in doing so, they discover something incredible. The limits were never real. They were illusions, shadows that disappeared the moment courage shined its light. Think of history, of the countless men and women who changed the world. None of them were free of limits. They were told it was impossible. They were told to stop dreaming. They were told to stay in their place, but they refused. They rose above every barrier, and because they did, they proved to all of us that the only true limit is the one you accept. You are standing in the same position now. The voice of fear may try to convince you that you can't go further, that you don't have what it takes. But your reclaimed power is stronger than that voice. Every step you take beyond fear, every action you take in spite of doubt expands your world. Rising above limits is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming who you really are. It's about peeling away the lies, the doubts, and the chains until all that's left is the truth. You are capable of more than you've ever imagined. And when you rise above your limits, you don't just change your life, you inspire others to rise above theirs. The power of consistency breaking through limits is not a single moment of courage. It is the daily choice to keep moving forward, even when the world seems unchanged. Too often people wait for a breakthrough, expecting a dramatic shift to happen overnight. But the truth is, real transformation comes from consistency, from showing up again and again, long after the excitement fades. Consistency is the bridge between who you are today and who you are becoming. It is the quiet force that turns effort into mastery, small steps into great distances, and dreams into reality. The problem is that many underestimate its power. They give their best for a short while, but when results don't arrive quickly, they retreat, convinced it wasn't meant for them. Yet the ones who persist, who refuse to let discouragement stop them, are the ones who eventually rise far above what they once thought possible. Think of the strongest tree in a forest. It wasn't formed in a single day of sunlight or rain. It grew through countless days, through storms and seasons, through time itself. That same principle applies to your growth. Each action you take, no matter how small, adds to your foundation. Each repetition strengthens you until what once felt impossible becomes second nature. Consistency is also a test of discipline. It asks you to commit even when no one is watching, even when you feel tired, even when progress is invisible. That is where strength is truly built. For in those moments, you are proving to yourself that your will is stronger, that your will is stronger than your excuses. When you rise above limits and embrace consistency, you become unstoppable. Momentum begins to carry you, and what once required massive effort becomes your new normal. Then the cycle continues. You set new standards, push new boundaries, and achieve what once seemed unreachable. Consistency doesn't demand perfection. It only demands persistence. And if you choose to stay the course, to honor your vision every single day, your life will transform in ways you could never predict. That is the silent power of consistency, the secret force behind every great achievement. Discipline over motivation. Motivation can spark the fire, but it's discipline that keeps it burning. Most people rely on bursts of inspiration to take action, but inspiration is fleeting. It comes and goes, often disappearing when you need it the most. Discipline, however, is steady. It doesn't care about your mood, your doubts, or your excuses. It is the ability to act regardless of how you feel in the moment. This is why those who succeed in any field are not necessarily the most motivated, but the most disciplined. They don't wait for the perfect time to act. They create progress by showing up consistently, even on the days when their energy is low. Discipline transforms intentions into habits and habits into results. Without it, motivation is just a spark that fades in the wind. Consider how an athlete trains. They don't rely on feeling excited every morning. Instead, they build a routine that demands consistency. Over time, the discipline of practice shapes the strength, endurance, and skill. Life works the same way. Every day you choose discipline, you are strengthening the muscle of self-control and shaping a version of yourself that no obstacle can easily defeat. The truth is, discipline often feels uncomfortable in the beginning. Waking up early, putting in extra hours, or pushing through resistance rarely feels enjoyable. But discomfort is not your enemy. It is a sign that growth is taking place. By leaning into it, you gain something far more valuable than momentary comfort. You gain mastery over yourself. When you learn to trust discipline over motivation, you free yourself from inconsistency. You no longer depend on fleeting emotions to guide your actions. Instead, your principles and routines become your compass. That is when you become unstoppable, because your progress no longer depends on chance. It is built on a foundation of deliberate effort. Discipline may not always feel exciting, but it always delivers results. And once you embrace it fully, you'll discover that it doesn't limit your freedom. It creates it. For the disciplined life is not a life of restriction, but one of empowerment, where you control your destiny instead of being controlled by your impulses.